we're going to talk about dating in Medellin, Colombia. I'm going to go over my experience over the last 14 years of dating here. So I had to get nice and beautiful for you because
I am going to go on a date with you today.
I got to Medellin because I was deported from the United States back in 2010. So I got here really with no money and no connections, no friends. When it came to dating, I had to date with no money really, or very little money. So I did a lot of creative things and it was super fun. So my dating experience right away was like, oh shoot, I'm in a hostel and I'm hanging out with other foreigners. And there are some Colombian girls, for example, on the pub crawl that we went to, or the salsa class lesson that we did, but I wasn't getting any play. And that was kind of like, oh, that was different from me, because in California, it was a little easier because I had like the Latino effect with the gringas. The best thing that I did to increase my social life here and my dating life was I got a job teaching English as a foreign language in downtown Medellin. And I did that for about 5 years. And that shot up my social circle, my social life, and my dating life, believe it or not, 100-fold. It was insane, actually. And apart from getting a job, because a lot of you probably would not want to come down here and work for the $4 an hour that I was working for, there are a ton of things that you can do where you can be surrounded by a ton of locals. My favorite is to volunteer and making friends with all the locals, with the orphanages out here, with the organizations that go into impoverished neighborhoods. You do it with a purpose, and the purpose is not to date, right? The purpose is to have a small impact on someone's life. If you do share that purpose truly, you're going to be surrounded by other people that truly share that purpose. That is way more attractive than whatever it is that you look like. Guys, by the way, if you're watching and you're new, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I go live every Wednesday and Saturday. Make sure to hit the like button on the video if you would. That would be amazing. I appreciate you. My second tip is to live here long term. If you really want to make meaningful relationships, meaning meaningful and deep friendships, meaningful and deep relationships with someone that you fancy from the opposite sex or from whatever you're attracted to, it's going to take time. It may take years for you to get there and have these awesome relationships that are full of trust, full of love, because the people here don't trust each other. They are super nice, even to each other. There's a certain level of distrust because of the violent and dangerous history that Medellin has. Knowing that when a girl asks to bring her cousin on a date, that it's totally natural because she's not trying to drug you. She's scared that you're going to drug her, or she doesn't feel secure and safe. Now, if you're picking someone up off Tinder and she looks like a hood rat and she wants to bring her friend or her cousin over, then that's a whole different story. But I'm just talking about if you're naturally meeting someone in a natural way, whether it's at the bank or doing an activity like volunteering or something, and you tell them, hey, you want to come down to El Poblado, and you're not buying their Uber and you're not paying their taxi or Uber, but they're taking public transport or their own taxi from whatever town they're at, that might cost them 25,000 pesos. Remember, on average, someone earns about 30 to 50,000 pesos per day. So you're talking about half a day's work for someone to take a taxi to come out to El Poblado or to Laureles, to the nice area that you're in, to go to the nice restaurant where you're going to pay for the dinner. They might want someone to go with them. They might need someone to help them pay for the taxi and or go back on the metro at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. This is why that happens for the most part. Now, there are some unscrupulous people that will bring someone along because they want to rob someone or slip them something, etc. But there are red flags to look out for if that is the case. One being that the girl is from like a super hood area or a super hood neighborhood, right? Learn some Spanish. If you don't have a good level of Spanish, it's going to be very tough for you to meet and create and cultivate these long-lasting relationships, whether they're just friendships or deep and meaningful relationships. At the very least, have the translator earbuds, like the device. Don't trust Google Translate. Sucks, man. You don't want to be on a date passing a phone back and forth. It's better to have at least some sort of translator that can do the simultaneous translation into an earbud so you could speak to each other without looking into a phone. If you know some Spanish, it's very fun to have and I've seen those conversations between a couple that where the guy speaks some Spanish and she speaks some English, and they're having fun, like trying to communicate and achieving communication and laughing at things and having a good time. That's where it gets really fun. Learning Spanish not only opens up the avenue for communication, but also for understanding the culture, because once you learn the language, you can understand the nuances within the language. You can understand why certain words are being said to you. Maybe you were thinking that they're falling in love with you because they say, you know, they're calling you my heart, my life, my sky. And you're like, wow, this person really is into me. But then the woman at the corner shop, when you every time you buy a Coca-Cola from her, tells you, muchas gracias, mi amor, mi vida. And then you realize, like, oh, every woman says this. Maybe she's not that into me. So there's just little things like that that can help when you know the language. Have money. And it's not what you think. Having money doesn't mean spending money on them. Like I've told you, I've been here for 14 years. I've dated multiple women. I've never had a woman ask me for a cell phone, for a motorcycle, to pay her rent, to do anything for her financially. What I mean by having money is when you have money, you are able to work on yourself more. That's been my experience in my life, because money doesn't buy people and it doesn't buy happiness, but guess what it does buy? It buys time. That's the only commodity that we have in life that we can't make more of. Imagine if I had a 9-to-5 job and I had to work right now. I wouldn't be able to do this right now. So the more money I've made over time, the more time I have for the things that I love to do and for the people I love. So the more time that you have to work on yourself, to make yourself a better person, to invest in yourself, to spend time doing the things that you love, whether it's volunteering, hiking, jujitsu, whatever it is, the more people you're going to meet and the more interesting of a person you're going to become, hence making you more desirable, more attractive. And finally, the number one thing that you can do to make yourself desirable to Colombian women, I know all of you want that, or Colombian men, is to work on yourself, man. That's my biggest advice to anybody, any friend that's ever come out here and they're like, man, how can I pick up more women? I see you talking to girls all of the time. You're dancing with them. You're making them laugh. You're flirting, etc. How can I do that? And I'm like, if you can't do that right now, no amount of money in the world is going to do it for you. If you're overweight and you don't like the way you feel, you've got to work on yourself. If you have a self-esteem problem, I stress eat, work on yourself. Some of the ways that I've worked on myself that cost you no money is by acquiring mentors online. So there's no excuse for you if you are feeling down or feeling short-handed, whether it comes to your personality or your physical appearance. There's no excuse in this day and age, because we have everything at our fingertips for the cost of what your internet costs. Because if you have internet, you have the world at your fingertips, and that is the way to make all of these changes in your life that will attract that person that's going to be compatible with you. Ask yourself, am I good enough? Am I compatible enough to be with my ideal woman? Like, if that's your ideal woman, would you be compatible? If she met you right now, would she be like, wow, tell me more? Or would she be like, I'm not very interested, sorry? What would be the answer to that question? Not saying good enough in a bad way. I'm saying good enough for your standards. Are you good enough to your standards? Don't compare yourself to somebody else's good enough, because that doesn't matter. It's never mattered to me. I don't care what other people think. I just know that I want to become a better person. I want to be more caring. I want to be more educated. I want to be more productive. That's like a huge thing in my life. So since I started working on myself, ever since I got out of prison, I became more attractive. And not just to the opposite sex, but even to just making friends and acquiring mentors. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Also, make sure to click the link in the description below to the Medellin Dream Academy. It's a free community where you can talk with me once a month on a live Zoom call about moving to Medellin. And on top of that, we talk about making money online and working online, etc. Medellin Dream Academy. I'll see you guys there.